Transform and roll out.
This is going to be the outdoor flight review of the BumbleB Whoop here, sent to me by Hessel. And it is your Tiny Whoop style flyer, but a couple things set it apart from your standard Tiny Whoop. First of all, it is Transformer branded, BumbleB, Autobot symbol here, and it has a nice little cover on the top here. It does have 4 bladed props, just like your standard Tiny Whoop. It uses this 260 milliamp hour battery, has a pretty standard connection there. I think, what is that, JST2? I should really learn the name of that. Anyway, motors plug in. They are color coded red and blue. So if you blow out a motor, you just got to plug it in. It does have a hookup inside for an FPV camera. Plug and play, no soldering involved. We will do a FPV review of this eventually. And also, what sets this apart, it is heavier than your standard Tiny Whoop. It is 21 grams, 22, 21 grams without the battery, which is what most whoops are. Most whoops are under that with the battery, but this one also has 7mm motors, which are going to make it a little heavier, and it has the plugs for your FPV to make it FPV ready. So a little bit heavier, has a little bit more power. You can fly it outside probably on a day like today, very calm, but mostly going to be an indoor flyer for you. It also has altitude hold, and it actually, my experience with the altitude hold in this, it works very well. It is pretty simple setup. We'll go right here, set it up. We'll plug in our battery here underneath. And we'll set it on the level surface. And we'll turn our transmitter on. Give it the up, down. It should be bound. And your rate button is the left stick. There's 3 rates on here. I'm just gonna go straight up in the 3rd rate since we're outdoors and it needs all the power it can to fight some wind. And it does have auto launch. To do that, your upper trim button, you're going to want to hold that down and it'll auto launch for you. So there we go, up in the air, fighting a little bit of wind here. Let's go through the, whoop, hit myself there. Let's go through the gate here, different kind of gate, and we'll get a little more room here out on the baseball field. So it flies nice here. Not sure of the exact flight times I'm getting, but I'll have it on the screen what I have for this one, and I'm also going to do an indoor flight with this. So let's do some flips before we lose battery. Or do we already lose battery? Nope. There we go. Flip. Roll. And see, it, you know, it's got the altitude hold and it works pretty well. Let's bring it in. So a little hands off. The wind is coming this way, so it's going to push it back, but it is pretty much keeping its altitude. So let's bring it back in. And it'll do some funnels, but as I said, it's getting blown around by the wind here. And haven't had any sort of issues with the altitude hold. One of the best altitude hold barometers, I guess, that I've flown with. So I've been pretty impressed with it. I think we're flashing LVC already. Maybe not, no. I keep on thinking it is because I'm hitting the flip button, but I guess it just isn't registering. So it flips nice, flies real smooth, and it looks really cool in the air. It's got the Transformers inspired Bumblebee look to it. Let's get a little closer shot of it here for you in the air, not in my shadow, not towards me, whoa. So let's try to get a close up. It looks nice, it looks real cool in the air. I'm liking this one so far. Definitely one of my favorite whoops just because of the canopy, and it flies nice, has those 7mm motors. Pretty big wind there coming. Well, not big wind, but in terms of a Tiny Whoop, it's a bigger wind. So yeah, I'm liking the way this one's flying. You can fly it outdoors. I would suggest doing it on the more calm days. I tried to fly this yesterday, it was a little too windy and it kept on getting blown around, so I just landed it. But a lot of the time you're going to be flying this indoors. That's what it's designed for. But it will fly outside here, obviously. And very maneuverable. I'll do more of like the yaw tests and stuff like that on the indoor flight, because it's kind of hard to give you a good judge of that out here because of this light breeze. Just a very light breeze. I don't even think well, there is no flag on that flagpole, so the flag is definitely not blowing in the wind, but there are flags over there and they're not blowing in the wind, so the little breeze isn't even blowing the flag, but any sort of small breeze is going to affect this little ducted guy. It is very light, you know. I mean, I guess it's heavy for a Whoop, coming in at about 31 grams with the battery, but it does have the bigger motors and the FPV Ready. Canopy doesn't really affect the weight at all. It's coming in at basically under a gram. Sometimes it would register at a gram on my scale, sometimes not at all. So we still don't have LVC, so we're getting a decent flight time out of this Whoop. 260 milliamp hour battery, and it did come with 2 batteries, so that's nice. And as I said, we did get the FPV camera with the mount from Hessel, so we're going to be testing that out in a future video. So stay subscribed for that. And if you're not subscribed, I mean, what are you doing? What are you even doing? So we still got juice for a flip. Once it goes into the LVC, you will not be able to flip anymore, as with most quads. And it came with your standard USB charger and a full set of props. I did do an unboxing video with the BumbleB Whoop here. I'll put a card up in the screen if you want to check that out if you haven't already. And I will come back with the FPV video, as I said. I'll probably link that at the end of this video once I post it. But yeah, I'm pretty impressed with this little Whoop. On a nice calm morning like this, it's flying nice. And it does have, you know, the standard toy small quad transmitter, but really the gimbals on it are pretty nice. Okay, so we got LVC here now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit the auto, well, I don't wanna land in the dirt. So let's come over here, hit the auto land, and I'll just kind of guide it into the grass there. And there you go. So that auto button is here, so that it will auto launch and auto land it for you. You can also, once you bind it, if you just push up on the throttle stick, it will idle up the motors and launch it for you. So there you go, outdoor flight test with the BumbleB Whoop. Let's check it out indoors. So here we go, indoor flight of the BumbleB Whoop, the BumbleB Whoop as I like to call it, Bumble's Bounce. So I'll give you the overview on the outdoor flight. So let's just pop our battery on here. And it's not all the way in there. Let me flip it around maybe. Yeah, that was the problem. Fits in better that way. So we're up here, level-ish surface. I say that because of the, seems like it's up a little bit. I don't know, we'll see. So I'm gonna give you you go up on the throttle here and let go, and it's gonna idle up your motors. And then if you hold it down, it'll stop them. And there's also this center button here is the auto launch. Hold it down. And that is also the auto land. So if I hold that down, it'll land for you. So there we go on that. We'll auto launch again. And then if you just wanna land it yourself, you go right into the computer. Anyway, land it on a surface and hold the thing down and the motors will stop. Hold the throttle stick down. So, Lucy's freaking out over there. Auto launch, and I believe we're still in the first rate here. I believe it defaults to the first rate. So here's the yaw on your first rate, pretty slow, but that is good for beginners. This whole setup is good for beginners because easy to fly, very durable, and it looks awesome. So there we go with that. Now we're in the second rate, and your yaw is going to increase a little bit on the second rate. And let's give you, while we're here, third rate yaw test. And not a whole lot of change in the yaw between the second and third rate. So let's go back to the first rate and I'll give you full forward pitch. Still pretty decent fast on this first rate. Definitely adequate for indoors, you know, but the yaw's a little slow. So if you're in a confined space like I am, it's a little bit hard to make aggressive maneuvers, but it flies real nice. And while I mean, obviously we're inside, we got no wind. So let's just give it a little hover test. Seems to want to drift a little bit, but again, we're in a confined area. So it's got some forward drifting, but I think it's more of like it's catching its own prop wash, even though it's pretty high off the floor. So I'm hands off here, and no, it's definitely got a forward drift there. But let's try to get it away from the surfaces. And there, it's still cutting one from forward. I should probably trim it a little bit, but I'm not gonna bother with it because I don't really hover when I fly. So dirty little secret for you guys, I don't really hover these things. I don't really trim them, I mean, all that much. So we'll go to the second rate here, and it gets a little bit quicker in the second rate, but still very controllable. And there's a funnel for you on the second rate. Doesn't do like super tight funnels. Uh-oh, we're in the other room. So let's give you a flip, and it'll give itself a little throttle, but not like a ton. So be aware of that if you're like close to the ceiling or something. So we'll go to the third rate here, and yaw seems pretty quick to me on that third rate. So a little funnel here on the third rate, definitely more aggressive than the second rate. And you know, I really like this guy. I think you can fly it outdoors on a decent amount of days, probably not on overly windy days. It's gonna get blown around for you, but you wanna fly this guy around your house. Flies nice, has the altitude hold, so that will assist you in hovering, but it's not gonna fly itself per se. So are we doing LVC? Oh, one other thing I wanted to show you guys is it does have the feature where if it flips over like that, it will shut the motors off. So that is nice. One thing I think they should have included is like a kill switch, emergency stop. I don't believe they have one. So there we go. Had to like reset itself there because it thought it flipped over. So that's, you'll notice that when now it's flashing LVC, and you get a decent LVC warning. I'm gonna land it here in a minute, but we'll just do a little, it is very responsive on the altitude hold too. I like that. Some quads, you know, they take a year to do what you want to do when they've got the altitude hold. But this one, definitely one of the better ones in the altitude hold department. So there we go, little landing. And that's gonna be my review of the BumbleB Whoop from Hessel. Not exactly sure how you say that, I apologize. I really like this one. It comes in around 40 bucks. And I think it's a nice little starter thing. It also comes FPV ready. So I will come back with an FPV video with the conversion of this. I'll give you guys just a, let me even plug my battery here real quick. And I'll take the top off here just briefly and show you underneath here. It comes with your hookup. And it also has, I'm not exactly sure what this one's for, probably for like a different camera if you wanted to run it. And I haven't really messed around with the camera yet. So once we get in there, we'll see what that's all about. But it comes with a nice little mounting bracket for the camera also. And if we take the battery out, the motors are color coded. So that is very nice. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm liking the BumbleB Whoop, and I think you guys will too. So check it out if you want, link in the description. And as always, thanks for watching.